You don't stay in the pocket.
What?
You got the talent, loads of it, but when things get hard, you bail. You run from adversity. You don't trust your team or my playbook. You don't deserve to play in the game.
Coach, 10 more games and my dream is gone. I've been working my whole life for this, please.
You need to start thinking about life after football, son.
Respectfully, you are wrong, Coach. I'm not gonna quit, because that's not what leaders do. I just need to know how to get on that field. Blue 80, hut!
You can throw, but you cannot leave the pocket. You want your shot, you take the pain.
Okay, a little bit of a late jump here, but we are here in Fairview at Dunkin' Donuts, and we are looking at talking today, this week, for a special edition. Of course, we're reviewing and looking at all the research from, of course, the past 5 years, but we're also looking at, of course, the review of 2023, all the episodes, how it talked about all the research and the step-by-step of this year that translate to all the research in the past. And we are today going to talk about recruiting in all sports, all avenues at all levels, the compliance, of course, and the process, but even more so, we are going to be looking at self-awareness during that time. What's so important when it comes to the fact of the recruiting process is understanding that you cannot live in a bubble. You have to be aware of everything, and to be aware of everything, you're really aware of yourself. So don't live in a bubble is what we teach our student athletes, what we teach our athletes, our coaches, what we teach, because that is really what is being looked at when it comes to not allowing anything to interfere with your goal, your decisions, your choices, what you need, what you want when it comes to the greatness of what we have in the recruiting process and making choices for your colleges in life. Scholarships is something that we're going to talk about, and we have intervened in reopening, revamping, I guess you could say, the scholarship that we started last year and we talked about last week, but it's going to, of course, continue to be the scholarship in Lorain County, and starting with North Ridgeville. We talked about the interference that took place. We talked about how we went ahead and took care of that, and of course it's going to be in Matthew J. Morrow Sr.'s name. We are looking at this week as we talk to, and I reach out to Lorain community, that we're actually going to look at transferring it into also my mother's name. Of course, this week is very special. On January 31st is when we started that scholarship last year in 2023, but even more so the tradition of that being the starting date because of the fact that, yes, we did have the passing of Matthew J. Sr. on that day, and it was the date of Elsie's birthday as well. So that's being a transition to what we're looking at, and to go along with everything, we are really putting a high emphasis as we rewrite this scholarship platform. The fact that we are checking for the type of character that is involved in the student athlete and the family. As we were doing research last year, because we did recognize that in some communities, and especially in the one community that I was doing and requesting public research, that there was a great deal of long, I guess I could say long amounts or great amounts of lack of character among student athletes in that community. So we had concerns when we already had public records and statements of parents of saying that, you know, individuals who are now adults, and at that point, back in 2017, 18, 19, where we had suspensions going on for many things such as harming the school, harming facilities, and everything else. And when we were doing research to say, what type of individuals are we looking for? What has happened in the past? What are we really going to look for in the future? That we found out that so much interference was taking place because of trying to not let scholarships be for the future. So with that being said, of course, we had many legal foundations involved in that, and we had NCAA involved in that, but we got that taken care of with the blessing of knowing how we move forward on that, and how we are actually transitioning to move forward this year on it. And again, this week, I will be contacting and connecting with all superintendents in Lorain County. Day by day and week by week, all of us will be communicating and working forward for all the future for this social emotional scholarship that will be taking place for a student athlete, and as the funding and the capital will be tracked and put together for the future. Now, with that being said, I think it's so important to look at another characteristic that we're looking for in this scholarship: a good teammate. You know, when college coaches are looking at individuals in every sport, you know, they look at the concept of a good teammate. What does it mean to be a good teammate? You know, in certain organizations in pro sports, that's actually their concept that they look for and that they focus on and their mission statement. But when you look at what a good teammate is, and I don't care if it's in business, I don't care if it's in life or whatever it is, it's not a friend. A good teammate is just not a friend. Oh, I've been friends with that person for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. That's not a teammate. A teammate is something much greater than a friend. A teammate is truly loyal. Loyal to the mission and loyal to what it really consists of with that connection of being a teammate. You know, teammates are individuals that, you know, you share experiences and you share what you do. I mean, you know, in college athletics and pro athletics, and even in high school athletics, you're demonstrating what you do on the road, what you do on the field, on the mat, what you do on the court, what you do on the ice. But you understand how to be a good teammate, and not many individuals really do. And that's why some individuals do not continue.
You know I was so hard on you? Well, I put all that pressure on you. I had to know that you were ready. Had to be sure. And guess what? You are. I never would have put you on that field if I didn't fully believe you were a champion. And you get back out there and you get this job done. Let's go. Let's get after it.
Yes, sir. And Coach. Thank you.
And the Rams are in business. A 34-yard return.
Huddle. Look at me. You can do this. I know you can. Yeah. We got your back, no matter what happens. Let's go to work, man. Let's go to work.
All right. That last one was on me. But we got this. Let's get to work. Right doubles, rip, 50 tail, on one, ready.
Now, of course, our future here, looking at the end of the month here, going to the Dominican Republic. Of course, I was going to go the past month in December, and I chose to stay with individuals who I cared about and wanted to spend that time frame with during Christmas and a few days after Christmas as much as possible, and to help out where you consider family. That's what you do in times like this. So that's what I did, but we're going to look at the end of February where we're going to go ahead and say, you know what? We're going to go ahead and look at what we're going to do down there. We're going to connect with some Major League Baseball, the Dominican, and see what individuals are doing down there with the social emotional to transition, earn opportunities of continuing on the recruiting process. Now, the middle of February and end of February, that's what we'll be looking at. But prior to that, we have this upcoming week that we're going to be in North Ridgeville. We're going to look at the cheer and the dance, talking about teammates, and we're doing a lot of research on that aspect. And cheer and dance, we are finding out that, yes, it's a sport, but there's very, very, very little team process, teammate process, and a lot to be learned, because you're either really good at it or not, and there's so much individualistic in there that's just selfishness, and we're learning how to get better at that. And that's something that's I'm talking to many coaches in those areas on how the accountability to be able to say, I'm wrong, I got to change, I got to become better. Why am I interfering or getting in the way of a good teammate? And we're fixing that in so many ways, as we're going to talk about some coaches that are just doing an amazing job. Back to the main point of recruiting. I think that the fact that right now is such high recruiting time in so many sports, in more sports than others, but the process is the process, and in recruiting, as I can say from being on every single side of the fence, you are looking at two very simple cultures, demeanors, and attitude when it comes to the recruiting process. Number one, on both sides of the fence, you have to understand the belief. You believe in each other. You believe the coaching staff, the program itself, the school itself believes in you. But on the other end, let's look at the thing that we've looked at in all 2023, especially in the months of October, even looking at the pro level as we watch movies. And you know how I like movies, and that relates to so many things in life to let you learn the truth. But the fact of the matter is, when you look and relate to those clippings that we saw, it's so interesting to look at the fact that, you know what, the belief really revolved around respect. When you have respect for somebody, you know what respect is. And there's so many individuals that have respect but don't know how to demonstrate respect. And that is something that we are going to dive into even deeper when it comes to the next few weeks here as we're doing our evaluations on everything. Because, you know, respect, yes, it really comes down to not letting anybody else interfere with what you're doing and what you believe in. Because, you know what? It's just a strength. It's the honor to somebody, and no matter what, they make mistakes or they don't. You know, it's just like a coach saying, I'm staying with my pitcher because I respect him, I believe him, and believe in him. And you know what? No matter what, you know what? We're going to let him work it out. We're going to let the solution take place, and we'll let him get through the inning for us because we believe in him and we have respect for him. There's no difference when a quarterback, you know, has a bad snap from his center, and he's not going to point the finger. In fact, he might even say, my bad, I got this. Even though the center really knows it was his fault, he knows that he has the most ultimate respect. And at the turnaround, he respects him, the quarterback, who's the leader when it comes to all of that. We'll talk more on how that works on the transition of creating good teammates and in sports, what coaches are looking for besides the fact that you can throw the ball, you can hit the ball, you can run, you can kick, you can shoot, you can skate, and you can wrestle. There's a lot more to it when it comes to so much, when it comes to the attitude and everything else.
I think the one incident that happened in the preseason that told me this guy's ready is we're in a run drill. The center snapped the ball and didn't come up to his hands. There's a fumble, and the defense got it, and I lit into Kurt for dropping the ball. Just lit, and I knew he didn't even touch the ball. But I just lit into him and just gnarled him. I chewed him for about 20, 30 seconds on the way back to the house. He never gave the guy up. He took the bullets, which you got to do. Didn't blink, didn't phase him. Great character and strength out of that moment. When that happened, I just felt like he's going to be special.
Today, of course, is Sunday, and Sunday is most days. If work does not interfere with the opportunity, I will be in church. And today, as I was in church on today's Sunday, I realized that faith and respect were spoken about. And that word respect just comes up over and over. And it's so important that we, as individuals, we understand the definition of respect. To be honored, to honor others. And it's almost unconditional because of the fact that you just understand that that's how it works. Because nothing's perfect. Challenges, confusion, explosions happen all the time. But the fact of the matter is, I'll tell you what I do. I teach all of my players as a coach. I teach all of my staff as a leader. I teach all of us in regards that we respect everybody at all times, even if we agree or disagree. It's okay. The fact of the matter that respect is because it's unconditional because of so much that you've gone through together and you share something together. And what you share, the main, most important thing is respect. So respect is communication, eye to eye, face to face, you know, whether you say toe to toe or nose to nose. Respect is so important in all areas. And respect ties into faith. If one person has faith, one person has respect. You know, so many individuals out there, they want to turn everything around instead of just saying, you know what, no matter what, I know that the unconditional respect is right there. Now, let's look at the piece that we're looking at in regards to what we need to do in so many different areas. What did we learn from all this research? What did we learn from all the episodes in 2023, from episode 1 all the way to episode 16? We learned the reviews that tie into everything of Talk with Craig, Conversation with Craig, and Anthony James. But we learned one variable, one most important thing. Outsiders with communication should never be involved. The fact of the matter that outsiders should never be involved in any of it. In fact, all people have the right to do their job, and they should ethically and they should personally be able to do their job eye to eye, nose to nose, and be able to communicate And that's how it's made to make decisions. People who are choosing not to do that, they're really hiding something. They're really admitting that they were wrong. And what's really sad is how many people in business, in life, and teammates in athletics try to turn it around and say it's somebody else. And then you have those real leaders that say, you know what? I'll just say, go ahead, my fault, but I'll fix it, even though he was the other person. That's greatness, to be able to take the brunt, take the backing of somebody else to help them, because maybe they at that point are not in that emotional state to be able to say it. But they can't wait long. If they don't come forward, snap, and be like, okay, no, that was my bad. Hey, thanks for taking that. Then we do really know. We do really know what type of person that character is. And this is what coaches are looking for when it comes to recruiting winners, when it comes to recruiting individuals that are learning and growing all the time, and that they're loyal as teammates. And that's what we're looking for. The main point, besides part one, that we really found out that those individuals that do all that, and we are going to put that into the social emotional scholarship in Lorraine County and at North Ridgeville schools, they're individuals that don't care what anybody else thinks. And the fact of the matter, I can tell you one thing that my father used to always say. The fact of the matter, who cares what others think? You only care about the truth. Who cares about pointing fingers? Because at the end, it's not about who's wrong. It's about somebody who takes initiative to create a solution and to care in regards for somebody else. And when I was young, I know I used to always say, what are you talking about? He used to say to me, well, let me ask you this. Did you take care of the pitchers today when I was catching? And he knew that that was the responsibility of a catcher. And the fact of the matter, there were many times when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, or even in college, of course, I would be like, looking at him with a blank face. What are you talking about? He's like, well, you guys lost 10-2 today. You guys lost 10-1. So were you still taking care of the pitchers, even though he was tough? Of course, I knew what I was doing, but the fact of the matter that I guess you could say blew my mind was the fact that he did. So maybe he taught me something that I didn't recognize, and maybe that's why this scholarship is in his name, because that's what he taught so many others out there in the community across, whether it was coaching or leadership in business, and how he would do things was so calm. Would he maybe yell once out of 1,000 times? Sure. And if he yelled, it was for about 2 minutes, it was all over, and it was all back. But he was making a statement that respect was needed. And I can tell you one thing. I can tell you one thing very simple. Nobody would disrespect me. That's the only time that I will open my mouth. That's the only time that I will state something with strength. I see that so many young out there and so many individuals out there across society need to understand the value of respect. How that trumps everything when it comes to honor, belief, and giving. And that's basically what we are looking for when it comes to everything, that we are making sure that we stay connected to everything and everyone that we're doing to grow for our future. And I can tell you simple, that this upcoming week, yes, we are definitely going ahead and do the evaluations at North Ridgeville, looking at their dance and chair, looking at the team commodity on that. But we're also going to be talking to some college ball players, the future. One is Spencer Crane, one of my favorites. His story is amazing, and what he does and continues to grow on and on through challenges, because nothing's easy, is very much an awesome story. So don't miss this episode, but don't miss what's coming up this week. And of course, we have a lot going on. The 4th to 6th in North Ridgeville, and this upcoming weekend, we have throughout the college setting on all colleges, we are looking at the recruiting process starting for so many, not just in baseball, football, hockey, wrestling, and so many other sports, including basketball. So let's make sure that we follow, and we follow with what we talked about. Respect and appreciate. If you don't appreciate what you have right then and there, it's probably too late. Because if you respect it after the fact, it's probably too late. All right, take care. Recruiting is recruiting.